Well, thanks, Crystal. Thanks, Miriam. So this is a really special stories from the block, and we're really excited about it because it really gets to the core of what we do here at Storyblok and our mission, and more importantly, what our customers do with Storyblok and how it impacts their business. So before we get started, if you would allow me just to set a little bit of a context here and to briefly explore the problem and the challenge that I think most of us as marketers and most companies face. And that is in a very complex digital world, how do we reach people who are being increasingly bombarded by content and by lots of digital noise, if you will? And really, this is an important question for business outcomes, because behind every click, every conversion rate, every KPI is a connection with a human being that who needs to be moved into action and to be engaged. So this is becoming quite a Herculean task in 2023. And let's briefly. The average internet user worldwide spends nearly 7. So, yikes. My compatriots spend nearly 11 hours per day consuming various types of media. And the average person sees around 70 ads per day across various digital platforms. So that's just to say that people are there's a lot of digital channels or platforms vying for people's attention. And this is getting only higher and more complex. So companies really need a way to cut through the digital noise and to reach people. And so how do we do that? Well, the most important factor, according to Google, is creating compelling and useful content. And this is from Google's SEO starter guide. And so it sounds a little buzzy. What does compelling and useful content look like? Let's look at some of the technical factors. It needs to be really fast. So people need to be able to access your content. Improving load time by just 1.1 second can boost your conversion rate by 8%. And conversely, if your content takes more than 3 seconds to load, more than half your audience is likely going to abandon your site, according to a Google industry study. It also needs to speak to every audience. It needs to be personalized and tailored to people's language, their demographic, and what their interests are. And increasingly, people are expecting this. So 71% of consumers expect companies to deliver personalized interactions. And about 76% get frustrated when content isn't personalized to them. And it also needs to be accessible everywhere. It needs to be, and we've gone beyond just optimizing content for mobile or tablet, for instance. You need to go a step further than just squishing your desktop experience into a mobile experience. Really, if you think about it, the desktop experience and the mobile experience is completely different. The way we interact by clicking and by scrolling is a whole different way of interacting with content. And so really, you need to be able to design content that's unique to each platform and that's designed to harness the platform's capabilities and its user interface. So strong content strategies retains 89% of customers, and strong content strategies would be ones that are designed for each platform. So the challenge, so we just discussed, went through a few characteristics of good content. It's fast, it's personalized, it's omnichannel. This is really tough to pull off and involves a lot of really talented teams across many different disciplines. Depending on how complex your content experience might be, this might involve dozens, if not hundreds of people across technical, creative, and marketing teams. So really, we at Storyblok see this as the number one driver to producing good content and that by empowering your teams, each team at every stage of the content creation cycle, you can really get a significant business advantage by not only delivering great content, but as Julius will see, but even further than that, that it affects your actual business bottom line. The problem is that only 11 companies have cross-functional teams that can execute personalization campaigns across every channel. I got this from a recent study from the State of Personalization study, but I think it really rings true that we take these things for granted, that we even have the technology and the processes in place to deliver such content. And so at Storyblok, what we've set out to do is to empower teams at each stage of the content creation cycle and the delivery cycle with the tools and processes they need to be able to deliver better content. And for each team, this is different. So for instance, for developers, we help developers need freedom. They need to be able to adapt to a very kind of a fast evolving technological world. So that is why Storyblok is composable and headless, to be able for developers to be able to scale their tech stack and their content operations without limits. For creatives, they have different pain points. They need to be able to work independently without having to rely on developers and tech teams. So for that reason, we are a visual CMS. We have a visual editor. We've added a digital asset manager that's native to our platform, and we've added a array of content operation workflows built right into our visual editor to allow creatives and content teams to publish faster and go to market faster. And finally, for marketers, it's critical to be able to deliver better audience experiences like we've just mentioned. That is to say, that are personalized, that are fast and omnichannel. And so with our headless CMS and with our API first integrations, all teams are able to integrate with other third-party solutions, increase their performance, and deliver to where their customers are, and depending on which is also changing at a very rapid pace. Now, all of these factors and all of by empowering your teams, you're able to deliver better content and better experiences to your audience. But as we mentioned before, these have a profound effect on your business outcomes as well. And so I'm going to pass it on to my dear colleague, Julius, who is going to speak a little bit about how Storyblok customers have used all of these capabilities to reach incredible levels of success and to their bottom line. Julius?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So yeah, that was really, really interesting, and essentially, speaks very much to some of the challenges and some of the ideas that ultimately inspired much of Storyblok, much of the product that we have at Storyblok, and our overall strategy and how we've gone to market over the past few years. Now, we know that we solve a lot of these challenges, and we know that we, provide a lot of value to many of our customers. But we've always felt that it's one thing to hear, Storyblok talk about that, to hear Storyblok mention the differentiation that we can make for our customers. But what we really ultimately wanted to do is we wanted to provide and arm our prospects, our customers, with necessary information so that they could make the best possible decisions when investing into their content management strategy, when trying to solve some of the challenges that Michael was also talking about just now. And in order to effectively do this, in order to effectively validate what we've been working on over the last few years and how we go to market, we contracted Forrester in order to write what is called a total economic impact study, to analyze our CMS. And Forrester spoke to some of our customers, and essentially the idea was to measure the return on investment that a composite organization of these 4 companies could possibly expect when implementing Storyblok CMS. And more importantly, also to understand a little bit more where exactly are the benefits that businesses get when implementing Storyblok. And it was very nice to see essentially what Forrester confirmed. Essentially, what Forrester was confirming was that there was 582% return on investment for businesses after being interviewed by Forrester, and that businesses would make back about would make back their initial investment within 6 months after implementing Storyblok. You can kind of see where the main areas and where the main areas of benefit are that Forrester found as well, in terms of the time to market. So how much quicker it was for businesses to now go to market, because they finally had different teams collaborating more effectively in order to be able to put out content much more rapidly. Second of all, the efficiencies that were gained due to the deployment setup. So the fact that because this was now a headless content management system, businesses were able to be on many more channels, were now cloud-based, all those sorts of things. And finally, and most importantly, having a single source of content management. What that ultimately refers to is that many businesses will have to rely on what's called a multi-CMS strategy, so that it means that they implement several content management systems in order to serve the various channels that they're working with. The great benefit of implementing something like Storyblok and a headless content management system, in combination with the first 2 points that I mentioned, is that businesses essentially at this point only need to work on one platform with Storyblok's collaboration features, all those sorts of things. And the fact that it's headless and as such is able to play to all the various channels, at the end of the day, businesses only require one content management system in order to effectively serve not only all their channels, but ultimately also all of their customers. So what I want to do is, more importantly, I want to also double click on some of the unquantified benefits that have been mentioned in the report, which are highlighted on this slide specifically, which really speak to not just where Forrester was able to measure the benefit, as you saw on the slide that I showed just now, but ultimately also some benefits that Forrester had recognized Storyblok delivers, without there sometimes being possible to assign a numerical value to that. And that really kind of divided up in 4 main areas, which was the fact that content operations were much more scalable because of collaboration features such as discussions and comments, but also elements such as custom workflows. The fact that content practitioner experiences were much improved due to the visual editor, the in-context preview, and the component approach, which enabled non-technical people ultimately to work with the platform as well. Then ultimately the localization features, such as translation features, and the fact that as a result, businesses were much more able to service their global audiences. And finally, the increased customer engagement. So what Forrester found, and this was something that came to us as a surprise almost as well, was the fact that our clients reported that their customers ended up spending more time on the website because content was being updated more regular, because there was more engagement, and because the website was just running faster and being safer. So what we found as well ultimately is that Storyblok delivered way more trust to our clients and some real results as well. So that was, in a very short bit, the main benefits that we found with the research and that Forrester found in doing that research together with Storyblok and our customers. We're very excited that we got to see how these benefits were validated by Forrester, and more importantly, how all of these benefits ultimately tie into many of the challenges that we hear from customers time and time again about how difficult it is to work on several content management systems, how having third-party applications that they need to use in order to manage their content will create difficulties and will cause them to lose certain content. And ultimately, how Storyblok has really helped these businesses scale their storytelling. So thank you very much for listening to us today, to me and Michael. If there's any specific questions that you would have, we'll be here for a couple more minutes. And otherwise, we can ping it back to Maria and Christelle.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Hi. Thank you so much. What an amazing talk to start us off. And yeah, thank you so much. It's incredible to see that customers received a 582% return on investment over the 3 years, and less than 6 month payback for managing and scaling content with Storyblok. So what a great way to propel better customer experiences through scalable content operations. And yeah, thank you so much, Julius and Michael.
Pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.